Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. As you can see by the comment, we have a viewer that is struggling with playing balls over the pocket and having quite a distance between the cue ball and the object ball and being able to screw long distances. They said it's almost impossible. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you a few tips and give you a few little bits of advice that you need to work on to make sure that you improve at this type of shot. And most of all, it's all about taking these tips, going down the pool hall and putting the hard work in to try and improve. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is roughly play it around about mid-distance in the table. Okay, we've come down the table, not a problem. Put the ball back in the same place, but this time I'm going to have my cue ball a little bit further away. Okay, we've got a decent distance again. Okay, so this is what we're trying to achieve. How do we do it? Okay, so tip number one, when you're on a shot like this, what you want to do is make sure that you have as minimal head and body movement as possible. Okay, so I know when you're hitting a shot hard and you're trying to get far distance, that it's quite easy for you to try and put your whole shoulder into it or your whole arm into it. You need to try your best to try and stay as still as possible. Okay, so when I'm down on this shot, if I get the tripod directly behind, look how still everything is when I'm playing it. It's just my elbow. Look at the distance I've got, and I'm not having to throw my whole arm at that, put my whole shoulder into it. I'm just using my elbow and my timing. Tip number two is to make sure that you're not hitting it too hard. So a lot of people think because you're traveling a really far distance with the cue ball that you have to hit it so much harder. That's not the case. It's all about pushing the cue through. Make sure you're cueing it smoothly and really good timing. Okay, so don't do this. It just means that you end up wild. Let's do it again, play it harder. You know what I mean? It's not the desired effect that I want when I'm playing it hard. I want to try and control it, because if you're playing it hard and you have no control over your cue ball, how are you ever meant to play screw shots with position? It's almost impossible. As soon as I play it hard, it just comes completely in a different direction. So, tip number two is to take a little bit off of it. Don't try and play it as hard as if you're having to throw your whole body at it. Try and stay controlled, try and stay calm, and make sure that you're pushing your cue through. So you don't want to stop at the cue ball. You want to make sure that you're pushing your cue through. Even if you're playing with bottom spin, your cue needs to go forward about a foot. Okay, so watch my cue and how far it follows forward. See that? And I have much more control over it straight away. I use my hand as a template and I come back in a straight line with my cue all the way back down. And that's with much more control. That's with my cue going forward past the cue ball. And it means that I'm not having to whack it as hard. Okay guys, another thing, tip number three is make sure that your pre-shot routine is correct. If you're walking into these shots differently every time, you'll never understand the muscle memory behind these shots. And that's what we're trying to achieve here. We're trying to achieve you understanding how this shot feels so that you can play it consistently. So you need to walk into the shot the same way every time. If you walk in sometimes and your legs are spread and your shoulders are all over the place and there's body movement, then that's going to feel different as if you walked into your shot with the correct technique and done things properly. So look down the alley of the shot, make sure you walk in correctly, still, no body movement, no head movement. Also really important not to hold the cue too tight at the back. So if you're doing this and you're trying to get distance, don't hold it tight so that you can play it with power. Be loose You need to have decent wrist action, okay? So when I'm playing this, I'm just going to be loose and fluid with it. If you see my wrist, see how loose my are with my fingers. And look at the distance I'm able to get by just using a couple of fingers. Okay? So put yourself in this position over and over again, practice the shot, and start trying to beat your own record. Maybe you can use a marker. So if you've got a ball over the pocket here, how far back can you screw? Say you screw back to here, use that as a marker, and then try and beat that next time. And eventually, over the time, you'll start to notice your progress, and hopefully, by the end of it, you'll make screw shots over pockets seem a lot easier, and you can get your cue ball down here. All right? Good luck. Cheers, guys.